The whole gang is on vacation, traveling by train to the Wild West. Maggie's excited to catch up with her hero, Ren, while Mario's bored trying to get Luigi's attention, but he seems to be extra focused on his book. He didn't ask her for grub, and Tari chimes in saying the express has a food cart. Maggie goes along with Paisan to check if he consumes all of the food available. They also gather all the others passing their time on trip, but as soon as they get to their stop, the guards refuse to let Mario in because it ain't lunchtime yet. After failing pass through, they go back and he's focused to set up with the potatoes, which the others are suspiciously fascinated by. Then Mario sees Luigi acting strange and appreciates his sudden shift in behavior. Maggie notices Tari's gone, and as she searches for her, the place turns into a cowboy's battleground. Finding her, Tari's in distress, so Maggie attempts to get her medication. She sees everyone taking their Western roleplay tweaking too far, making her shout in confusion. Immediately, everyone is frozen, but Tari, who appears to be normal, believes Maggie has gone through a hallucination and recommends her to get some rest, realizing everything's fine. She appears to share her concerns looking out the window. Then the camera pans to a TV with a message, check the description, and cuts off on a cliffhanger. The link in question leads to a Gmod map for players to try out. It allows you to explore the area featured in the episode, with the crew behaving relatively normal. During its first week of release, the file was updated before the following episode's release, revealing Tari to be stuck in a mysterious room under a ton of stress. What all this really implies, it won't be a lighthearted getaway. 8 out of 10. All aboard the Rootin' Tootin' Wacky Express, safety not guaranteed. Aside from the lead up to the upcoming special, there's nothing I can really add to this. It's part of Western themed hijinks that come out left field, and part mystery that keep us on edge. Maggie and Tari are the highlights since they both take note of the strange occurrences, and the tones know their place in the episode. And the bonus map is a very nice touch to promote their next movie, showing that a silly video game show can have present production on a cheap side. But enough about trains. Let's take a look at another one of SMG4's finest hours. Giddy up! The movie opens with character introductions of Maggie, Tari, and Mario in the desert dressed in cowboys getup, followed by the leader recapping previous events. They encounter Shumi and his gang called the Malicious Seven and engage in a showdown, with the heroes believing their enemy is staging a kidnapping. But their cargo is just potatoes. They are good enough to eat raw. Bailey tells them One-Shot Ren was last seen at the town of Western Spaghetti, wreaking havoc, like all outlaws do. Mars takes the carriage to get to the town faster, along with the potatoes. The town is hosting a hanging of another outlaw, Buffalo Bob, which then interrupted by Bookins freeing him and escaping, warning everyone to return with their associate Red. This puts the townsfolk on edge as Swag immediately gives Maggie the sheriff's badge as soon as her group arrives. Everyone warns her about Ren's notoriety, but Maggie calls their bluff, yet she's happy to sort things out if they find him. Just in case things go south, she advises them to target predators for self-defense, and it goes out as well as you think in this zany video game world. Tari is surprisingly the most timid of firearms, but her coach reminds her that her anxiety will be behind her as soon as she masters her accuracy. Night falls at the hotel. Maggie and Tari are about to get some shut-eye. Maggie tells Tari to leave everything up to her for her safety. Much to her disappointment, she asks why whenever they're in a situation, she cowers and lets her friends do work, making her feel useless. But Maggie disagrees with her statement, saying that will change once her training is complete. Relieved, they fall asleep. Suddenly, A hunting flashback shows everyone on the train being attacked and fainting to noxious gas as Maggie sees an unknown figure, but then wakes up. She sees Tari's gone, so she heads to the saloon. She's relieved she went there for a glass of milk, thus asking the bartender for one herself, who happens to be a familiar face. She nonchalantly chats with two of her old acquaintances, Dusty and Axel, whom you may know but now aren't supposed to be there. Maggie then notices her friend being anything but okay and is warned to get out. Reality catches up to her, realizing those two are long gone and her surroundings start to go haywire. She appears to have escaped, having woken up, witnessed her and Mario have been thrown in simulation pods, and the two figure out where the others are and how they got there. Mario sees a TV with a logo Maggie is familiar with. Playing with the cheesy but charming through the Mario song, he dances along to it, making Maggie believe it's nothing more than a distraction at first, but it teleports through the lights, leading them somewhere. Claimed by the Italian. They reach their exit, a room containing a PC tower, which seems like a dead end until Tari appears on the nearby TV explaining that everyone was kidnapped on the train weeks ago and are held hostage in the simulation. They've also been brainwashed, forcing them to believe the Wild West is their home. Tari's meta powers allowed her to find out what was really going on, using them to communicate with her closest friends. Maggie is impressed. She's making an effort to save their skins, that urges to find out who was responsible. Tari rather hesitantly proceeds to tell her this was all Rand's doing. Shocking her with pain and anger, she takes a revolver and proceeds to hunt him down for turning on her and tormenting her friends. But before Tari could provide more info, Maggie slams the door. She finds another room housing the pods with their friends inside. While Mario's left in the dark about her behavior, Maggie finds Ren in a tank and angrily shouts for answers, ready to fire. She asks why he threw his career away for this evil plan, so he delivered his backstory. Ren held on to his platoon championship status up to a point when his successors overcame him, thus distancing himself from fame and fortune over time. It's implied that his ego got the best of it, which is why no one wanted to be around him due to his lack of humbleness and charisma. While he was living in the streets, he received a letter offering him access to the simulation pods to create a world where he's always number one. In order to include residents, he's taken on one of his former fans and possibly thought far ahead with the adventures she and her friends have been on, as it's pretty hard to miss two apocalypses within a year. So he planned to lure them by ordering a gang of English to steal her beanie and lead them to his whereabouts, all because the real world had ostracized him. He made his own playground where that couldn't be possible. Maggie's in dismay as Ren offers her to join his cause, but she fires a bullet that goes through her own stomach. Blood spurts out of her, and Ren reveals she hasn't left the simulation and is in full control of it. Ren also used Dusty and Axel's likeness, expressing he was aware of the former's relationship with Maggie as rivals, thinking he could fulfill that role for her. Mario, paralyzed with fear, watches his friend die and is warped back into the West. Morning rises, and Maggie wakes up like what just happened was a nightmare. But she remembers those events. Quickly going out, asking questions, she asks Mario if he remembers the encounter, while all he can think about are those grade A potatoes. She's mortified and bumps into Ren again, immediately challenges her to a duel and gets the first shot. Waking up again, Maggie is forced to sit through the same day, ending with a bullet in her for a whole month in real time. She's reached to her breaking point when she threatens to blast 4 on the church roof. Tari shows up to calm her down, claiming she recognizes what's going on. Maggie at first doesn't trust her, then takes her word, letting Ford go and follows her. They head to a secluded pond while Maggie freaks out about her ex-idol. The gamer girl tiptoes and kicks a special folder, revealing a dimensional rift she's keep secret from the others. This sanctuary in particular is reminiscent of another show to anyone who's consumed all of Glitch's videography. Tari explains she's been keeping a low profile among the town and trying to break the simulation as much as she could each passing day. Noticing Ren's sadistic tendencies urged her to finally make something out of herself by plotting to get her friends out of there. Maggie is emotionally relieved and proud of her student, and now all they have to do is restore the gang's identities and take down one-shot Ren once and for all. Back at the town, Swag and Chris are about to execute the gang because Ren tells them it's for a show. Assuming they'll be fine in the morning, Maggie halts his stunt, confronting him again, but this time she got Tari by her side and helps free their friends by restoring their memories and untying their knots. They warn them about the situation and Ren is out for blood, so he summons an army of gun-touting enemies. The gang defend themselves in unorthodox fashion, making Ren desperate by changing his minions' weapons into stuff that doesn't fit the time period. He gains the upper hand from this until Mario shows up to distract everyone by dancing like this Hollywood counterpart. Opening the opportunity for Swag to disarm Ren, Meg is in a stranglehold, but Tari blasts Ren on sight, winning the showdown. Maggie wakes up and goes to congratulate Tari for her bravery, but suddenly Ren snaps, deliberately overloading the machine, so they're forced to rescue their friends and escape before the place collapses. They all manage to exit the room, but just as Maggie was about to herself, she witnesses her former hero feeling defeated and realizing he screwed up. She wishes that it didn't have to come to this, and Ren could have been part of her extended family had he not gone insane. He looks at her, smiles, thanking her for the battle, and like he putting him out of his misery. Several days have passed. With the gang safely back at the construction site, Meg is coaching a young Inkling with Tari and Mario's assistance. Once they finish, they begin playing Turf War while the others happily watch. Their vacation might have been a bust, but they're getting better at surviving the insanity that crosses their path, especially Tari. SMG4 does a bit of self-reflecting, saying that their adventures are helping them grow closer as a family, and with their new hub on the way, their future is appearing much brighter. But not smarter, as the trio accidentally undo a chunk of progress wrecking the site, making the Guardian scream in agony. 10 out of 10, the most emotional and gripping Western horror ever made. Western Spaghetti is another surprise hit in terms of what I don't expect regularly from the series. Maggie, Tari, and Mario and One Shot Ren are great. Maggie and Tari make the best pairing here, as they really look out for each other in the worst of times. I have already gone in more in depth about this in another video. Ren is surprisingly one of the more compelling villains of the SMG4 universe, having a backstory of ego fueled by fame. I tackle briefly. The main difference between him and SMG4 is the latter having notoriety for his videos in universe, merely putting them out of their expression and out of passion, but what keeps him from going is his group of friends and the madness they endure weekly. Things in the former lacked when his Splatoon championship title was taken away, which makes more of a thought-provoking parallel, especially with discussing celebrities. It passes on the theme of family over fame from the previous special, where you should stick closer to the people you know best. One thing to know about the beanie Maggie was panicking over a few episodes ago is that despite being a gift from a person she no longer respects, she kept it believing it's all hers now, and with her new coaching job, she could be much a better role model than Ren ever was. Tari's heroism in saving her from being sidelined in the show as of late. Despite what certain individuals trying to over-exaggerate the issue claim, it's nice to see a scaredy cat stand up to evil whether or not they're fighting for someone else. In fact, my favorite moment is her revealing her digital hideout, a nice homage to Metroid's finale, and confronting Maggie from her torment. Elsie and Celeste gave their best performances in the series yet. They're also getting better at showing when to be the dramatic and when to tell a joke, if you don't have a TikTok level attention span. Assuming this movie is part of the trilogy, the meme gang aren't done finding their new frontier yet, since they might have an evil TV company to take care of. But for now, let's see how they'll set into their new home. On to the next video.
Let me at least clean this mess up.
Okay, but you better not do any more than that.
Castle's construction is near completion, as Mario and 4 are tingling with excitement. But one of the engineers halted progress because Mario's cardboard cutout Mario is in the way. 4 tries to move him, but is somehow cemented onto the ground. No matter what he does, Mario still stands in the place as if it's made of stone. Mario calls everyone in time to get the cardboard to budge, even bribing them with co-ownership of the cat building. And yet again, Mario hasn't moved in a nanocentimeter. So he pulls out his big guns by calling the military so Swag and Chris can build a sports drink powered nuke to blow Mario to bits. There's one little problem though. The construction site is in the explosion radius. Ford tries to prevent their foolishness by he's running out of time, so he tells everyone to evacuate, but then turns on another Kato, which happens to be Louis. He touches us, getting flashbacks, presumably through his meme powers of Mario being left out, forced to do everything on his own while the game was away. He looked out for the place and technically paid for it with the money from the pizza shop and never got a thank you. Ford finally gets it, and understanding how bad it is to feel underappreciated, so he makes it up to him by allowing him to stay in the new castle once it's finished. Mario finally falls out of the brick, and everyone cheers, but they still have Oppenheimer's offspring to worry about. Luckily, Marty is made of magic and heroically deflects the nuke back at Mario and the guards. The construction workers are able to return to work, finishing the building within the next 2 weeks. 7.5 out of 10. An odd combination of an Adventure Time episode and SpongeBob's Doodle. This is just another episode of Sea of Chaos, nothing more to it. Honestly, it's pretty damn weird that Mario can make a piece of cardboard sentient, even if he is cosmetically linked to the universe as much as folks claim. The showrunners have largely forgotten about it. It's the trope getting rid of a stubborn object or complying with a stubborn character, but it doesn't try to be generic and lifeless at its core. The character variety is there. The continuity with cosmology is right if you consider Mario and 4's powers as reasons for them being able to bring Mario to life and being able to communicate with him. In the conflict with Mario and the guards, it's absurd, but I'm assuming at the least. Not sure if Mario and Louis will serve purpose in the future, and not in the way conspiracy theorists in the community will jump to. But the show does rely on unpredictability, so who knows? For anyone who was genuinely curious about a certain premises, let's see what the Italian snagging housewife has been up to.
Here we fucking go! Oh!
4, 3, Mario and Maggie are on the quest to get the remaining Power Star for Peach's now dismantled castle in order to finish construction on their new stomping ground. The quad jump into the abyss with parachutes while Mario's Chew goes kaput, reaching the bottom. They score for the castle's remains, but Maggie immediately gets kidnapped. It's up to the 3 dummy plumbers to find the star and their friend from the 26th depiction of hell. Some scary shenanigans, including explosives, occur until they find the castle. Looking inside the glass portrait, they find Maggie tied in cobwebs and she warns them it's a trap. It's revealed Peach failed to finish the rocket she was going to escape the abyss with. And as the months went by, mutated into a monster, Mario sees the old cannon, prompting 3 to insert his bombs and fires them at the dethroned royal beast, forcing her to hide in the ruins.
Oh no! Anyway,
Maggie is freed, but they still have no star, so she turns into a lawnmower to shred the webs to dig out. Off screen, they fly back to the showgrounds where the rest of the crew are waiting for their arrival. Four Hands engineer the star, which he eats with his lunch and builds like there's no tomorrow. Their second home is not far away from them. 7 out of 10. The end of Princess Peach, MLAO, and a new beginning is on the horizon. For the group of virtual mischiefs, it's mostly X's has the setup for the new location in the next episode. Pacing is kind of slow, since the middle is just the plumbers being scared of their surroundings until the climax, which has been done in the past episodes. The little joke about the video's runtime, while hilarious in a vacuum, is modified by over fourth wall breaks in the video, which I prefer most subtle ones. The characters aren't too shabby, not even Maggie since she's out of picture most of the adventure. Also, that dead horse of an idea being eaten by maggots, with the fact she's not secure from every threat under the sun. Oh, did I mention Peach just turned into a spider from hell? The reason for this change is likely the brothers admitting throughout the years her character was nothing more than a plot device, rare moments of contribution notwithstanding. What else would she have done if she got out of the hole? Besides getting revenge for destroying her castle? Peach is the same woman who made an unreasonable ban on entertainment, indirectly leading to a near disaster for a neighboring area in the world. And the fun thing is, none of the characters shown concern for her after her home got destroyed. Not even her subjects. The Toads have taken note of the disaster. Seems as they're not much happier without a leader. Though she's not actually dead, so it doesn't rule out the possibility of her returning to normal. Whether she'll remember the events, it's gotta be perfect or not. But enough about irrelevance. It's time for the big reveal that's been 4 months in the making. So, are you guys ready? Big day is finally here, as Suport greets the audience, showing us a spectacular new intro with all the characters saying Mario's catchphrase. Then he finally unveils the building. A circus tent inspired aesthetic complete with SMG4's cap as the roof and the eyes on the front. The gang go inside amazed at the lobby interior, and the rooms are empty as they're free to decorate them and how they want. Starting with the kitchen, Mario and Maggie figure out how to sort appliances and plays out like a certain cartoon from the 40s. Then 3 suggests Rico should make his room dark and moody, but 4 settles on an office for his recreations. Luigi and Tari check the closet for curiosity's sake, but are spooked by Depresso, whose intent for messing around others is still a mystery. Bob, Bookins, and Melanie argue for their decorations, throwing in whatever they like, and Judge just puts in a toilet for the bathroom. Everyone's almost settled in with the rooms, but the second floor is still a work in progress. The boarding room in particular is a silence, as Ford prefers to keep it a secret for now. For the final surprise, he shows them the new gaming room, where Mario can make his own videos from now on. Not only that, they're rebranding the Wednesday series as SMG4 Crew, opening the gates for more involvement from the game in the future. They happily play video games in their new home as Shumi finds out he wasn't invited or he was late again. My guy needs a new planner. 8 out of 10. New look, new castle, and a newer era. It's a nice introduction of what's to come for the channel. I adore the new intro with the guys saying that's so nice, bringing the fresh air, preserving the show's charm. The castle's design is pretty clever, taking place in an amusement park, referencing the general nature of the series being entertaining. The blues and whites complement each other pretty nicely, and the lobby takes inspiration from their past home, and wouldn't look too out of place in a Mario game. The characters reaching their new digs and messing things up a little is like usual amusing to watch. And the SMG4 crew rebranding brings hope to the side content, as I feel those videos are much better with multiple characters than a single one reacting to absurd content or playing bizarre games. Time will tell if any evil creature will sink into the center of the earth and the game put their strengths to the test in the future. Well, this should have come out sooner, but procrastination is a vicious maiden. Anyways, I hope you guys stick around with these reviews and introduce some new faces here. Even if they're invisible, hopefully any mental gymnastic disputes won't slow us down for the next one. Hope you guys still having a great summer. We're settling down in school, and as always, peace out.
The only thing that's for sure about
SMG4!
is
Your life sucks definitely more than my show does.